Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Get to Know Her show, and it's Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. The sun's shining. We had some nice, big, fluffy snowflakes this morning. They were so beautiful. And I'm really, really happy you're here because I wanted to bring back my dear friend, Catherine. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But before we get into that, I want to point out this satin top I'm wearing from our sponsor, Brenda Bedome. It's so pretty. I love it. It's sort of like a cafe au lait color. And I'm going to stand up just for a minute so you can see the length and how nice it goes with the shiny Brenda skinny jean. But also, look at my mask from our friends at Hides in Hand with the lace. I'm so matchy today and feeling very comfortable and glamorous. Another reason I'm feeling glamorous is I went and bought myself a curling iron last week. My curling iron broke just before Christmas, so I was rocking out the straight hair. And then last week, my mommy said to me, "Honey, I just like you better with your curls. It's such a nice, soft look." So when my mom says something like that, I jump. So I went and I got myself a lovely curling iron, and I'm happy. I'm so happy the curls are back. I missed them. I'm also feeling a little competitive with the curls today because my guest today is Catherine Vanderoy, who has the most fabulous curly hair you've ever seen in your life. I love it. And she is back today. So she is back. We talked to her at the beginning of the pandemic. Catherine is the type of friend who is just always positive, always optimistic, and thrives in times of uncertainty. So we're going to touch on that a little bit. We're going to touch on her story, and we're also going to talk about just being a woman and getting older and how we are embracing the changes that we're going through. A lot of us are in midlife right now, and I don't think we can ever talk about these things enough. We definitely need to support each other. So let's bring Catherine on. When the show's over, I want you to go to brendabedome.com and use the coupon code Get to Know Her and grab yourself one of these beautiful little satin tops and 21% off, you guys. Brenda has been very generous with us. So 21% off for 2021. Here's Catherine.
Oh, hello, Monica.
Oh, hello, Catherine.
Let's see, meeting you here.
See, now the audience will understand my competition with the curls. I love your curls.
So do I.
Oh, they're so nice. And you know, one thing I've always loved about your curls is all the different shades of blonde and brown and little hints of strawberry in there. Like, your hair, you have the yummiest hair, Catherine.
Thank you. I finally come to terms with it. It took me a long time to come to terms. And in high school, I was like straightening it, and my forehead would get burned from all the product. Just straightening it, you know? But it's all about the product. My sister introduced me to a great product you can only get in the States, actually. Miss Jessie's Pillow Soft Curls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'll order it like 12 tubes at a time.
That's great. So for all our curly haired watchers, you got to get some of that. Also, Catherine, your cut is really great. You have and you go to Lift Salon in Toronto, right?
I have amazing hairdressers. I've been going to them 12 years. Yeah, I think I was still at King and Bathurst when I was going to see them. That was a long time ago. Yeah. And so Tracy colors my hair. Her husband's actually a drummer for a heavy metal rock band. And I'm just like, make me look like a rock star.
Yeah.
And then Heidi has a way with my curls. So.
Oh, looks great. Yeah, I love it.
I'm only as gorgeous as my hairdresser.
That's right. We got to have good people taking care of the hair. Our manes must be tended to.
That's right.
So, my darling, I loved our last conversation. I was reviewing it today to listen, and actually we were at that point in the pandemic, speaking of hair. So the last time we spoke on the show was in April. We were embracing our grays, but I see that has a thing of the past for you.
Yeah, my
we're going back.
Are like, don't do it. And I'm like, okay.
We just go with the flow. It's all good.
I actually can get, my hairdresser's been selling me the product, and then I just,
Yeah, that's perfect. I did the same thing too, because there was one point where you could go back to the hairdresser with the masking up, and I just said to her, how can I take care of this at home? And they're all so great. A lot of them have home kits and stuff you can do now. So, and
it's great to support them. I mean, they really need to, we need to support them. So when we're allowed out of our rooms, we can go back and they're still there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. Yeah. So, for anyone who wants to go back and listen to the interview with Catherine, please do. It was such a good one. And the only question, Catherine, I did not ask you on that interview was what you wanted to be when you grew up as little Catherine.
It's so interesting that you asked me that, because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was reflecting on my sister and myself and our lives. And my sister, she's just always been an artist and a hair and makeup artist. She always did my makeup. She used to cut my hair, and she used to like sew clothes and all this stuff that I never could do. And that's how she's always been. But for me, I've always been a businesswoman. I've always thought I'd be in business. I remember when I was, I must have been about 10 years old, and I had this girlfriend that lived in East Oakville, and there was like a big sort of forest behind her house. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we like pulled these saplings out of the ground and we planted them, and then we sold them on the side of the road? And so we did that, and we sold these plants. People stopped their cars and sold these plants, and we made some money, and we went to the store and bought a bunch of chocolate bars, So I've always known that I would be a businesswoman. And, I've always, and also another thing that I've come to realize is that I've also had it in me to encourage and to give other people confidence. When I was a young kid, I had a very shy cousin, and she could barely speak 2 words. And I remember encouraging her to use her voice, and we would have plays and stuff like that. And it really brought her out of her shell. So, wow. Yeah. And I think we just kind of grow up being those people,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. How old were you when you had that experience with your cousin where you were really helped?
God, again, I must have been about 10 or 12. I have pictures, and I had really short hair, and we were camping, and I'm pretty sure I was like 10 or 12. I was in St. Mildred's at that time.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, Catherine, this is such a beautiful segue into what you and I were sort of chatting about, what we wanted to talk to women about today specifically. But, and in my friendship with you too, you've always been very encouraging about, you're so powerful. You don't even realize how powerful you are. You need to harness that power. And you've always said to me, I see you doing this and this, like, can you see that for yourself? And there have been times where I'm like, oh my God, really? And I take a step back and I'm like, yeah, Catherine's right. I can do that. And you've always had that gift, and it's certainly been in our friendship all the way through, where you've been like, just go for it. You can do this. Mm-hmm. And I think, that really speaks a lot to the way that you practice your own self-care, and also the investment that you've made into yourself over the years, and all of the discoveries you've made. And now it's taken you to this place where you're a very successful realtor. You're putting all of your good energy and everything you've learned into your work, into your clients. It's amazing how it's manifested itself. And here you are, you're a real successful businesswoman now, Catherine. So yeah, I think it's just amazing. And so so before we hopped on here, you and I were talking a lot about, women and how we see ourselves and how the media has sort of concocted these images of how we should be, how we should dress, how we should look, what weight we should be, all this sort of thing. And there are a couple of people, one of them I know you and I are both following online. And then there's another woman, I'm not sure you're following her, but I just want to, before we get into it, I kind of want to start with this, if I may, Catherine. And the interesting thing too, I looked up the age of these girls, both in their 30s.
Right.
So this is very exciting. It's like the new generation of, of women here. So the first one is Celeste Barber, who's 38 years old, and who, for any women who are not following her, you definitely should. She pokes fun at supermodels and the ridiculous things that they get these models to do to show like glamour and ease, and I'm so gorgeous, and I can do everything effortlessly. And
Right.
one that Catherine and I both enjoyed was just recently, there was one where they showed this beautiful model, very, very skinny with big boobs and little underwear on, drinking her cup of coffee with her librarian glasses, la la la. And then Celeste imitates them in her granny panties and her bra that's kind of crooked and her coffee spilling over, and she's just being a real woman. Yeah. So that's number one. We love her. Then on a heavier note, Catherine, Jamila Jamil, who is in the good, oh gosh, what's the show?
So The Good Fight?
The Good Place, where they go to heaven. They think they're in heaven with Ted Danson. She's in that. So she's 34 years old. And she calls people out on promoting things that are false, that are harmful to women, to please stop doing it. Mm-hmm. And the other day she posted something I never even considered doing. So you know how we'll be on our social media and they know exactly who we are and they know how to target us, and you see something and it's like, are you going through menopause? Are you bloated? Do you feel like you just can't get your stomach to be flat anymore? Click here to find out what's going on with your hormones. And as soon as you click, you get hundreds of other ads in the same vein, right? They just keep. So she did a really good post to say, guess what, girls? You can mute these ads. Go in and mute these effers. They shouldn't be doing this to you. It's false. They're making you feel like something's wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. This is a natural part of being a woman. Please mute. Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, she did a post recently to stop promoting keto. And I'm going to read this to you, Catherine. It's so powerful. And then you are friggin' taking over. We're going to get right into this because it's so awesome. So it says, celebrities and influencers, please stop pushing the keto diet to people who do not need to follow the diet for medical reasons. It can create all kinds of disturbances for people's bodies, including their vital organs, and they do not have the same access to healthcare that you do. Stop with the, in brackets, often bullshit before and afters, especially the ones where in the after your trousers are higher, your bra is more supportive, your hair and your makeup is done, you're smiling, the lighting is better, you're using airbrushing, etc. During the most predatory time for women, especially around their weight. To anyone seeing these posts about keto and 2-week weight loss, it's water weight, not real fat loss, and it takes from someone who did every diet under the sun. The weight comes back thick and fast, and then some as soon as you reintroduce the carbs. Mm-hmm. Most humans need carbs. Stay away from fads, and if you really want to change your body to whatever, please do it for the right reasons, the right way, slowly, not guided by some newfound thinfluencer and their fat weight loss guru predator.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Like I have tears. Like I feel so strongly about this and how we've grown up with this bullshit and this negative self-talk. And to this day, I can feel great all day. I get undressed, I look at my belly and I go, oh man, why did you eat that? Mm-hmm. There's a huge unlearning for us.
Yeah, there is. And you and I share an acquaintance actually who went on the Bernstein diet and ended up in the hospital. Do you remember that?
Oh,
3 years ago?
yes, yes.
Yeah. Desperation.
Oh,
It was like, oh my God. Yeah. No, and definitely, all of this social media definitely targets us, and they're getting more and more sophisticated. I mean, all you have to do is watch that documentary. Oh God, what is that documentary? The one on social media?
yes.
And how they track us. And
Yes.
ever since then, I've been very mindful as to how I conduct my social media. Yeah. And, and I think, we really need to get to learn about ourselves and our bodies and recognize, because everybody is different. Everybody has different reasons why we gain and lose weight. And I think it's very simple. I mean, it's diet and exercise and mindset. And there's no quick fixes. And at the end of the day, it's about controlling inflammation in your body through what you eat, how much you exercise, and your mindset. I mean, I think it's very simple. I'm still learning all the time. I mean, I've always sort of been a bit on the heavier side, more so, of course, after I turned 30, my body changed. Hi, Griffin. He's like, Mom, what are you doing here? And it's about alcohol intake, and it's about the foods that you eat, and it's a constant learning curve. There's a healthy way to lose weight, and as we get into menopause, one thing that really struck me is when I eat something, do I get a hot flash afterwards, right? Or if I'm lying in bed and I got a hot flash, what was the thought that was going through my head as I got the hot flash? And it all kind of comes down to your liver, and because your liver is sort of where all of your hormones are. So, as you get into menopause, you can't drink like you could in your 20s. You can't eat the foods that you could when you're in your 20s and 30s. So it's just about listening to your body.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you say that, because I haven't gone that far with it. Like when I have a hot flash, I'm thinking about, what did you eat? Did you just, have a glass of wine? Or did you eat some chocolate? Like those tend to be the triggers, but it's so true. I even find, this, what were you just thinking about, or what were you doing? Or even at work sometimes, if I start doing something that somebody else could be doing, where I could be better spending my time, I get a hot flash now.
Yeah, you just become way more sensitive. It's stress hormones. Yeah,
definitely. And it really is. I think it's, people roll their eyes when you say menopause is a gift, but it really can be when you look at it that way, because your body is showing you things that you've been perhaps neglecting. And imagine going into the next chapter of your life, respecting that stuff and saying, you know what? Yeah, hot flashes are behind me now, but I'm going to continue to delegate. I'm not going to take all this on myself. I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to have a huge, big glass of ice water with lime accompanying my one glass of red wine. Like, I'm not going to,
not your lime and shot of tequila on ice.
Well,
yeah, you know what?
For breakfast.
And I wonder, this is all to think about that, as you go into menopause, are you becoming more sensitive, and your body is saying, you don't need to do this anymore. Listen to it. Have you earned your chops that you can delegate stuff, or what is it in your life that is of no longer use to you, no longer beneficial to you, whether it's friends or things in your house. Like, I used to get hot flashes just thinking about all the stuff that I have.
Wow.
Like, I lie in bed and I fantasize about decluttering my home. Like, ridiculous. It's just like, I want to get rid of so much stuff because it was giving me hot flashes, all this energy sitting around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you become more sensitive?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think really, like there's different phases in life where you're kind of coming into your own, but this is a new phase for us. We are coming into our own in this chapter. And, when you're in your 30s, it's all about accumulating stuff, like getting the latest gadgets, getting, the car you always dreamed of, the house you always wanted, all of these things. But that's another gift of life. You realize the things you really want don't cost money. They're those experiences with friends, with family, exploring different things like Reiki and yoga, and really tapping into yourself, because we need to be best friends with ourselves. We need to respect ourselves. That's when beautiful things happen in the world. That's when we make change. That's when we become a gift to other people. It's
interesting you say that. And so in your 30s, I think you're starting to learn your power. I mean, certainly when I was in my 30s, I started my own company, and I was very successful at it, and I made a lot of money selling jewelry. And I realized my power, and I was like, oh my God, I could buy shoes galore and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I think in your 40s and your 50s, it's like, okay, you've experienced your power, and now you have to experience that. You have to go through it. Mm-hmm. People can tell you until you're blue in the face that the good stuff, the valuable stuff in life is experiences and all of that, but you have to go through this recognizing of your own power. And then when you get into your 50s, that sort of shifts, hopefully. Yeah. For me, my, how I experience magic is when people go out of their way to help me or are there to support me. And I realize how much people really want to help me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is invaluable.
Yeah, that's so true. And Catherine, you're someone who has lost both parents. Mm-hmm. So you've got your siblings, mm-hmm. and you guys are also close, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But, in that too, I think that's something that, this is the time where we start to experience loss. I still have my mom, and I think about that too. I'm like, I can't even imagine life without her, and what will that look like? And, when we talk about investing in ourselves, I think we really need to prepare ourselves for being alone, for lack of a better word, like, and to see the love that surrounds us, even though we don't maybe have that same love we had from our parents. Mm-hmm. Like, I know what you're talking about with the same with me. I have all these women who will rally around me to help me when I need it. And it brings me to tears, because I think, what did I ever do to deserve this? And all I had to do was ask, and they really all want to help me. Like, yeah. What the hell? It's so amazing. And I think a lot of that comes from being, who you are and being comfortable with that person and not compromising. And you're one of the first people who taught me about, there are things in life that are non-negotiable, mm-hmm. Like,
it's about loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's loving yourself and realizing what is lovable about yourself. And then I think it's really easy to accept more love, because you're like, yeah, I would do this for other people, and of course they're going to do it for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
There are things that are non-negotiable for sure, and they change as you get older. It changes. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, to look back and see things, that you did in the past, or decisions you made. Nothing is bad. Like, I would encourage people to never look back with any shame. I look back at things and I think, what the hell was I thinking? Or where was I? Who was that person? Where was my head at? But, it brought me here. So is it really that bad? No.
Experiences.
Yeah.
You got to learn from your mistakes. We've all made mistakes. I cringe at the mistakes that I've made in my life. But even good stories, you know, if I want to admit my mistakes.
Well, I didn't know you had any.
We're all human, you know, we're all human and we're not perfect. We're all, you know, beings going through a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
Yeah. I mean, and you're allowed to make mistakes. Yeah. But it's about loving yourself, and it's also about excuse me, it's also about going with the flow as you get older, and learning how to grow old gracefully, you know?
Yeah.
And becoming wiser and imparting your wisdom on younger people. And, you know, it's amazing. I have these beautiful nieces and nephews. I'm particularly close with my niece that's going to U of T. And she wrote me on my birthday card about things that she loves about me. You know, and they're things that I didn't even think about, like I just in conversation, but you know, that I've taught her to use her voice and taught her to love nature, to stop and look at things, or to laugh at ridiculous things, or to give her confidence in, you know, being the DJ in the car, and all of these things, these beautiful things that are so easy for me, but what we teach younger people.
Yes.
How to be that cool aunt. I'm not teaching her how to smoke.
No, that would have been the 1970s.
That would have been the 70s or the 80s, but
those were our aunts.
Yeah, it's embracing, you know, the wisdom that we have as you know, as we become going from being a maiden to being. I don't like this word, but it's the only word that I know how to describe it, is to be a crone, right? Mm-hmm. An older woman, and in this day and age, you know, like we were never really meant to, you know, live this long, or to still be dating in our 50s and have a libido and all of this. So, you know, it's all sort of new, right? Mm-hmm. And it's learning how to manage ourselves and our minds and our bodies through this gracefully, and using what we got and appreciating it. And, you know, it's somebody I was talking to the other day, they were, you know, saying, oh, my bad back, or my bad knee, or my bad thyroid. And so I was like, don't say that you have a bad knee or a bad back. Like, they're working really hard for you, and they're telling you, you know, you need to change what you're doing, or change what you're eating, or whatever, in order to take care of these things that are working really hard for you.
Yeah.
We have to take care of ourselves.
That's right. Yeah. That is such a valuable lesson. And it definitely one I've struggled with. I will push myself in my work, and and it's, you know, for what? Like, exactly. It doesn't pay off. The recovery time is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
My hip is not a bad hip, but it's hurting. My mom's like, God, you really move around a lot in those talk shows. And she goes, oh, it's that hip, isn't it? But yeah, it's true. It's like, you know, at some point you have to say to yourself, you know, make a deal with yourself to just be nicer. And
I started doing Qigong, which is really cool. And it's just, I love this word, synovial fluids. And it's sort of like, how do you get your synovial fluids, which are the fluids that are in your joints and everything, going in the morning? And they're these really gentle exercises that I do while I'm waiting for my coffee machine to heat up. And it's all about sort of like, you know, circulation of your knees, and then your hips, and then, you know, tapping your body, and then just the simple act of tapping your face and getting your sinuses going. And, you know, and then I started doing like face yoga, and all of these little subtle things that you can do to get your energy going. But the one thing too is that they're slower movements. It's not like I'm going to the gym and doing crazy aerobic exercise. It's being kind with my body, and slower, and getting into my body a little bit more, and connecting with it, and just being gentler. And I had this like really bad neck thing a couple of weeks ago, and I watched a video on how to get rid of that hump, you know, on the back of your neck. Yeah. And saw these beautiful neck exercises. Like, oh my God, just like taking 5 minutes out of my day to do these slow exercises, and I got rid of my neck kink. So we have it in us. We just got to slow down.
Oh, Catherine, I love that. I love the slow thing. Okay, I have to tell you, it's so it's making me laugh because I think of the way, the way we were raised or whatever. I mean, you and I both had European parents, right? And I still remember, I mean, my dad was all about, you got to work hard, Moni, you got to work hard. And I went to the dentist once and she said, your gums are receding. Are you grinding your teeth? I said, yeah. So she gave me the mouth guard. She goes, this could actually help with the receding gum line. But if it doesn't, what we have to do is take skin from the roof of your mouth and then and I was like, okay. So I went home and I tell my dad, of course, and he goes, what with that? Then don't let them do that to you. You know what the problem is? You're not brushing enough. You got to brush till those gums bleed harder. Yeah. Oh. But it's so funny because that's so typical of my father, and like, harder, just work it harder. Like, and that's how I've been like, you want to, lose weight, to do heavier weights, do harder, get up earlier, sweat more. So this, and I
tell you, so last year I worked my tail off. Like after we talked in the springtime, the market took off. Like I had the craziest year I've ever had.
Yes, bravo. And can we just say, did you not have your biggest sale during COVID?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was an insane year. It broke all
amazing
of my records. And like it just blindsided me, and I didn't stop. I think from the day that we did our talk I was still doing a deal in between Christmas and New Year's. God. And I think I have PTSD. Oh gosh, where am I going with this?
Just the working hard.
Just the working hard. And so now I'm just taking a month off of work to kind of get my strength going as well. And I was doing my Reiki master as well. Like it was an insane year. It was an insane year. Oh my God, to be doing my Reiki master and all these people, I completely forget why I brought that up, but it's leading me to that last year was a really crazy year because a lot of people were making huge decisions to either buy a bigger home or move out of the city or sell their investments. And they were all looking at me going, okay, well, what do I do? And I had to look at all of their different scenarios to assist them to make these huge decisions. I mean, imagine being that person that is asked, well, should we sell our house in Leslieville and move out to the country? What do you think? And so you have to go through everything. And then based on what you say has a huge impact on how they're going to like sell their house and move their family into the country, right? And if it doesn't work out, they're going to say, what happened,
Yeah, that's a lot on your shoulders.
Pressure. But what I realized is that I actually had to look at all of their situations and really think about it and care, right? And I talked a lot of people out of doing a lot of things, but I also talked a lot of people into doing a lot of things, right? Yeah. So it was a really heavy year.
Wow. And so there's a couple things there. Like the other thing is doing your Reiki master at the same time. I mean, that would really help you to just trust that flow and listen to the inner voice and come up with great ideas for these people because you're more receptive and you're so guided by your feelings and you've also shared with me since doing your Reiki masters your sensitivity is so much higher. So all of that really combined makes you a wonderful person to come to for life advice. And I would expect that that's going to continue to grow as you grow spiritually through your Reiki. Like, yeah. So Isn't it amazing, Catherine?
It's like very multifaceted. It's not just about buying and selling homes. It's about advice, giving advice, and listening to your inner voice and your intuition as well.
Yeah.
It's not just all matter of fact. It's a lot of it is intuition, and then a lot of it is also knowing your clients. Like I would say that, I know exactly what 80% of my clients are doing. I know their kids. I know so much about them, and I may not be in their lives, but I'm watching their lives thanks to social media.
Yeah.
But it's a real intuitive job.
Yeah.
And I kind of just dropped everything all year. Like I didn't even go much to my cottage. I was actually sending my clients to my cottage. I'm like, well, you can't be home. And I'm not going to my cottage because I'm selling your home. So you might as well go out. Right.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's
crazy year.
Yeah, that's amazing. But I like that, and it's so like, you look at the Reiki part of you and then the real estate part, they're kind of opposite. Like when you think of a real estate agent, you think like high stress, 24/7, never shuts down. And Reiki is this like
calming.
Calming. Yeah. Yeah. So I like how the two are working together. And this whole notion of like driving yourself, because you and I are both, we're both guilty of that. Yeah. High achievers. We like to run full speed ahead. And also when we crash hard. But once the energy's back, we're like, okay, let's go. And it feels really, really good. And then boom, the crash. It's like this.
It's a cycle. And it's a constant battle as to how to balance it as well. And I think for, anybody in life, even if you're a parent, I mean, I can't imagine, how stressful it is for, parents who have jobs and they're homeschooling their children. I mean, that's like a whole other, my biggest thing is I have to clean 2 cat boxes and feed 4 animals and walk my dog. But it's about balance. And you never actually find balance, because if you find balance, you're not moving anymore, right? Because if you're here, you're not doing this. So it's a constant finding your balance. It's a constant motion, right? And we all, and the thing for me is I'm always looking for ways to find balance, constantly trying to find balance.
Great. So what would be great for you to share with us, Catherine, is how you find that balance. And also, I said this on our last interview, you are like my favorite playmate. You always know how to have fun, have a good time. Like, okay, it might be go, but let's take 15 minutes or let's take a weekend and do something fun. You're really good at that. I can be good at it, but I find that I'm like go. And then I'm just as happy to like sit on my bed and stare into a corner.
Well, and I am too. I'm guilty of sitting on my butt and watching TV and, closing all the curtains and ordering food in, but Monica, you're a great playmate. Like, remember when we went to that I Can Do It thing and we rode our bicycles?
Yeah.
We wiped out.
Oh yeah, that was that big conference. Was Wayne Dyer still alive? Did he speak there? Yeah. And I took that giant wipe out and I had bandages on my knees.
And you laughed.
Yeah, I was laughing.
You were going to be in tears. But, all about finding joy in things. Last night, at 7:30, I decided I needed to go for a walk. And so I put my running shoes on, and putting my running shoes on, I don't know what it was, but the bottom of my feet were super sensitive, and I really enjoyed having my running shoes on. And I started walking, and it was snowing a little bit. And I walked all the way over to Broadview, and I stood there and I looked at the cityscape, and it was so beautiful. And I just loved being outside at night while it was snowing and walking. And it's all about finding those little, joyful things. And sometimes I crank the tunes and I just start dancing in my kitchen, or it's kind of about finding going back to the things that you enjoy doing when you were a kid. For me, it's bike riding, it's walking, it's swimming, it's just even the simple joy of being able to watch TV and my mom's not around vacuuming around me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Banging into the couch. Oh my God, it's so true. That's funny. Wayne and I had this discussion the other day. I said, my mom, she was never really into house cleaning, and when she did it, it was never she was not a singing, enjoying getting the windows open and la la la. She was more like, like your mom, right? Like banging the couch.
You're gonna suffer. Like banging the vacuum up against
the
door.
Yeah. And I just realized after being together with this man for how long? 23 years. I said, when you clean, I get stressed. I want to leave because I think you're going to get mad at me. He's like, for what?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Yeah. It's so funny. I feel like it's the guilt and all this stuff, right? But
yeah.
God, I'm so glad he loves it.
It's important to find joy and to take those times for yourself. Like the walk I did yesterday was amazing.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. And do you ever get this, sometimes I feel like I really want to tap in, obviously, to the teenage years. And so I'll feel like kind of like I want to do something rebellious. So I'll get Wayne to make, this is so rebellious, like our listeners have to be forewarned. I'll get Wayne to make me like a hot chocolate with Bailey's and put it in my travel mug, and then I'll walk the dog for like 2 hours, sipping my Baileys and at the Christmas lights.
I do that with white wine in those traveler things with ice in the summertime.
Yeah.
I'll go for a walk around the block with a tumbler full of white wine.
I know, it's so fun.
Like as long as you're not driving, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
Little ways of, misbehaving.
Yeah.
You can't take life too seriously.
No, that's so true. Yeah. But it's, that whole notion of going, tapping into your childhood and doing those things. It's fantastic.
It's like doing things that make you feel really good. Another thing that makes me feel really good is yoga. I just love to, I'll drop down on a carpet anywhere. People know this. Like I'll go to their houses and I'll just like, okay, I need to stretch. And I just like lie down on the floor and do stretches and breathing. It's like, oh, okay, all right, good. Yeah. But it's about finding your happy place. Where can you just like feel your body, get into your body, get back in, because we spend so much time in our head worrying about stuff that we don't have to worry about,
Right. Mm-hmm. And Catherine, from everything you've learned with Reiki, what are some practices people can do at home? Like, let's say somebody does have a sore hip or something's on their mind, or what would you recommend to kind of help release and calm?
Yeah. So really great questions. What I do personally, and what I love about Reiki is that if you have so much going on in your head, or you don't know how to figure out a problem, or something has just happened, is just to lie down and close your eyes and breathe. Just breathe and just think about what's going on, right? Because as soon as you lie down and you start breathing, things just kind of calm down. You can go into yourself and just figure it out. Even if you put your hands on your chest and your belly and you just breathe, and 9 times out of 10 you come with a solution. I do that a lot too. When when I'm doing deals, I'm trying to figure stuff out. I lie down and I just breathe. And then the other thing too is go for a walk. Go for a walk. Just breathe and just clear your mind. Go for a walk by yourself, like somewhere where you don't like talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. Walk.
Yeah, nature is so powerful.
Yeah, it's incredible. Since I've gotten Griffin, I have to walk him twice a day because he hasn't learned how to walk himself yet. With a leash in the back. But I walk him at night at 10:30, and it's always like, oh, I take him for a walk. And then I get outside and it's like, it's so quiet and peaceful and the fresh air. And it's so nice just to have that before you go to bed. It's like a real calming thing, sort of, doing a recon on your day, like what happened that day. And then, thinking about the great things that happen and then what do I want to accomplish the next day.
Yeah.
We don't spend enough time, if we're sitting, somewhere waiting for something or even in line, you automatically go to your phone. You're scrolling through social media. Like I find that people are always looking outward to spend their time, but it's like, why don't you just stand in line and just be in line?
Yes, like in the 80s.
Why can't you go for a walk without reading a book?
Yeah.
It's
so true. So one of my best memories with you, Catherine, that folks, we can do this by ourselves at home too. Do you remember when we went together to, we went up north to Collingwood?
Yeah.
And you made this beautiful steak dinner. And you went outside and barbecued it like a champion with your boots on and the snow was coming down. You had the hat, the scarf, who cares? And then we had this beautiful dinner. We drank too much wine, of course. That's what we do when we get together. And and then you said, let's go for a walk. And we got all bundled up and we went all the way down to the water and we did snow angels and looked up at the stars and laughed our heads off. Like, I feel
laughed so hard we peed our pants. At least I probably did.
But it was so fantastic. And this is stuff, I think this whole lockdown, it's so hard for so many people. Everybody at this time of year would be heading south or, there's other things we would be doing. But if we have to do this, like, we got to find these magical moments, not find them, create them. Like, do that with your kids, like get the kids bundled up and take them out past their bedtime and do snow angels in the park. Like, make it exciting.
Doing that. And all last summer I saw lots of people like two families with their kids having a picnic in the park because nobody's going to judo and ballet and they're home and so they're actually interacting like they used to. Remember when people had their families together and then you'd have a picnic and you'd play with the other kids and life was easy and you didn't have the pressure that you had to do stuff if you were just a kid. Parents, of course, they've got wine in their tumblers, which is great, and they're having a nice time.
Yeah.
And then parents have spent a lot more time. Like, I live in an area where there's a lot of kids. There's actually a school right across the street, so I watch parents with their kids a lot, which is lovely. I love to see that. It's the parents. It's away from their phones and away from work and.
Yeah, I love that too, especially teenagers walking with their parents. When you see a teenage girl and her mom and they're like holding hands. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. There's so much to be thankful for. That's for sure. And I'm so thankful for you, lady.
I'm thankful for you, Moni.
Oh my God. This is such I'm so happy we were able to talk about this stuff today because I thought, you are always such a bright light. You've always got so much to give to others, just like you gave to your cousin all those years ago. How's she doing now with the Catherine magic?
She's in Paris, and she's married and lovely, and she's good. She's good. I didn't hear about that until maybe like 15 years ago. Somebody in her family told me about this, and I was like, really?
Aww.
I've always been outspoken, I've always been, somebody who didn't really put up with a lot of, as my sister-in-law would say, you always know it's on Catherine's no secrets. Trouble with my parents, but
they wouldn't have had you any other way.
No, they wouldn't.
Oh God.
Yeah, but the one thing that I love about our relationship is that we can be little kids together. Like when we go to your farm and go down. I want to go down to the dock and jump off the dock and swim with the thing. And
Yeah. I know. It's so
make some steak. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And I love how we're, you and I are the same. Like, even if we're not together, if we are not in the house when it's nice out, we are so much those kids that were like, your parents were like, get the hell out of here, go play outside. Like, that's what we're like now. I still remember that hilarious conversation we had when we first started hanging out. And you said, don't you feel guilty when you want to stay inside with the sun shining? I went, yeah. And then you said to me, you know what I do sometimes? I come home, I shut my curtains and I watch a movie. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like such an indulgence. I would never do something like that.
Oh my God. It took me years. I remember my husband used to do that. And I was like, how can you do that? It's nice out.
Yeah. I know. You're so disgusted in their behavior. And then you give it and you think, oh, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Shutting out.
But then it's like, oh, it's a nice time to waste a nice day. It's a gloomy days out there to do this.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Catherine, well, I'm going to go for another walk today, thanks to you.
Good. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
9,900 steps last night.
Wow.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I'm going to invite you now. Oh my goodness, look how far I have to back up to see the time on the thing. So our time is up here, but I want to invite you for an Instagram after party. And now something just left my mind. What I want, I know what I want to talk about on that Instagram after party is what we chatted about earlier about our size, feeling small, being small, and how we step into our Wonder Woman big selves. So that's what we'll chat about on the Instagram.
Okay.
Thank you, Catherine. You are a joy.
Thank you.
We love you. By popular demand. See you soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catherine is so awesome. Come on over to Instagram Live for the after party. And this afternoon, why not treat yourself to one of these beautiful satin blouses from Brenda Badome. Remember to use the coupon code Get to Know Her for 21% off of your order. And thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for being such a light in my life and watching these episodes and giving me so much joy. I love introducing you to these women. I love chatting with them and sharing them with you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Keep showing the world your sparkle, and I will see you back here next week for another episode of the Get to Know Her show. Bye for now.